The quantum sensors aboard the HMS Prometheus detected them first. 300 Cernax warships emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the Arcturus system. Admiral Elena Santos stood at the bridge's observation window, her weathered face illuminated by the distant stars. She'd been waiting for this moment for 15 years, ever since humanity first detected the Cernax Empire's scout ships, testing Earth's outer defenses. "Status report," she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of 2 decades of military service. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, their movements precise in the dim blue light of the command center. Cernax fleet maintaining attack formation. Admiral. Lieutenant Commander James Chen reported from his tactical station. Their energy signatures match previous attacks on our outer colonies. Same invasion force, same pattern. Elena allowed herself a grim smile. The Cernax Empire had destroyed 3 human colonies in the past month, each time following the same tactical doctrine. Overwhelming force against what they believed to be primitive human defenses. They still thought humanity relied on basic fusion drives and chemical weapons. They had no idea what was waiting for them. "Signal the colony," Elena ordered. "Begin immediate evacuation protocols. And notify command. Operation Revelation is now active." The Prometheus hung motionless in space, cloaked in fields that bent light and gravity around its crystalline hull. To conventional sensors, it simply didn't exist. The vessel represented humanity's greatest achievement, the culmination of 50 years of secret technological development. While the rest of the galaxy dismissed humans as newcomers barely worthy of notice, Earth's scientists had quietly mastered technologies that defied known physics. "Enemy fleet will be in weapons range of the colony in 40 minutes, Chen reported. "Evacuation transports are launching now." Elena moved to the tactical display, studying the approaching Cernax formation. Their ships were massive, brutal things, all sharp angles and weapon emplacements, designed to inspire fear as much as project power. The Prometheus, in contrast, was elegant. Its biocrystalline hull housed systems that could manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe itself. "Deploy quantum mesh," Elena commanded. "Full spectrum. Let's see what their sensors make of that." The mesh activated. An invisible web of quantum-entangled particles extending for thousands of kilometers around the Prometheus. Any sensor sweep passing through it would return false readings, showing empty space where the ship actually was and phantom targets where it wasn't. "Mesh deployed," confirmed Dr. Sarah Wong, the ship's chief scientist. "Their active scans are already being redirected. They have no idea we're here." Elena watched as the Cernax fleet drew closer, their formation spreading out to surround what they thought was a defenseless colony. She had studied their tactics extensively. They would launch fighters first, then move in with their capital ships to finish off any resistance. It was a strategy that had served them well against numerous species, but they had never faced anything like the Prometheus. "All hands to battle stations," Elena announced shipwide. "Prepare graviton cannons and quantum torpedoes. Today we show the galaxy that humanity is done hiding." The bridge crew worked with quiet intensity, bringing the ship's revolutionary weapons online. The graviton cannons could manipulate gravity itself, crushing enemy vessels or tearing them apart from the inside out. The quantum torpedoes carried warheads that could briefly alter the laws of physics in a localized area, with devastating effects on conventional matter. "Enemy fighters launching," Chen reported. "First wave, 200 contacts." "Let them come," Elena said. "Record everything. The galaxy should see what happens when they underestimate humanity." The Cernax fighters streaked toward the colony, their energy weapons charging. They never saw the Prometheus until it was too late. Elena gave the order, and the quantum mesh shifted, revealing their ship directly in the fighter's path. "Target their lead elements," she commanded. "Minimal power on the graviton cannons. Let's make a statement." The cannons fired. Invisible beams that distorted space itself. The lead fighters crumpled instantly, their hulls crushed by localized gravitational fields thousands of times stronger than a neutron star's surface. The remaining fighters broke formation in panic, their sensors suddenly showing hundreds of phantom targets as the quantum mesh played havoc with their targeting systems. Incoming transmission from the Cernax command ship. Communications Officer Maya Patel announced, "They're demanding our surrender." Elena straightened her uniform. "Put them through. It's time they learned who they're dealing with." The main view screen activated, revealing a Cernax commander, a towering figure with iridescent scales and multiple compound eyes. Their mandibles clicked in what Elena recognized as agitation. "Unknown vessel," the commander's translated voice boomed. "You dare interfere with Imperial business. Identify yourself and prepare to be destroyed." Elena stepped forward, her voice steady. "This is Admiral Elena Santos of the Human Space Service vessel Prometheus. You have attacked 3 human colonies without provocation or declaration of war. We are here to discuss your surrender." The Cernax commander's eyes flashed with what might have been amusement. "Surrender? To primitives? Your species barely understands faster than light travel. This display of defiance will be your last." "Your intelligence is outdated, Commander," Elena replied calmly. "Humanity chose to hide our true capabilities until now. Your attacks on our colonies have forced us to reconsider that policy. This is your only warning. Withdraw your forces or face the consequences." The Cernax response came in the form of energy beams from their capital ships, enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. The quantum mesh caught them all, redirecting the energy harmlessly into space. Elena watched the confusion spread through the enemy fleet as their sensors showed their weapons hitting nothing but empty void. "Target their command ship," Elena ordered. "Full power to the graviton cannons. Show them exactly what they're dealing with." The Prometheus fired, and the laws of physics bent to humanity's will. The galaxy was about to learn that they had gravely underestimated the species they had dismissed as primitives for far too long. The Cernax command ship's bow crumpled inward as the graviton beam struck, its advanced shields useless against weapons that manipulated the fabric of space itself. Admiral Santos watched through the Prometheus's quantum-filtered viewport as confusion rippled through the enemy fleet. Their tight formation began to break apart as ship captains reacted independently to a threat they couldn't comprehend. Multiple enemy ships powering up their main drives, Lieutenant Commander Chen reported, his fingers dancing across the tactical display. "They're attempting to surround us." Dr. Wang's voice cut through the tension on the bridge. "Admiral, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from their secondary vessels. They're attempting to adapt their shields to match our graviton frequency." Elena nodded, impressed despite herself. The Cernax weren't purely brutal. There was intelligence behind their aggression. They learned fast. "Initiate Protocol Shimmer. Let's show them adaptation goes both ways." The Prometheus's biocrystalline hull pulsed with ghostly light as its quantum core reconfigured itself. The ship's revolutionary design allowed it to alter its fundamental properties on the fly, making it nearly impossible to develop effective countermeasures. "Incoming fire from multiple vectors," Chen announced. 300 discrete energy weapons targeting our last known position. "Quantum mesh to dispersal pattern Delta," Elena commanded. "Dr. Wang, prepare the phase torpedoes." The enemy barrage passed harmlessly through a dozen false images of the Prometheus, while the real ship had shifted its quantum state just enough to let the energy weapons pass through its space without interaction. It was a defensive capability that had taken Earth scientists decades to perfect, and one that the Cernax clearly hadn't anticipated. "Phase torpedoes armed," Dr. Wang confirmed. "Targeting solutions ready." Elena studied the tactical display, watching the enemy fleet's movements. "Target their screening vessels first. Minimal yield. We're making a point, not starting a massacre." The phase torpedoes launched, their quantum warheads briefly visible as distortions in space, before they seemed to fade from existence. They reappeared inside the enemy ship's shields, their detonations causing localized failures in the laws of physics. Metal turned to liquid, Energy fields collapsed, and ships began drifting powerless in space. "Admiral," Maya called out, "we're receiving distress calls from the disabled vessels. Their life support systems are failing." Elena straightened. This was the moment that would define humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. Deploy rescue drones. Show them we can be merciful as well as powerful. The Prometheus's automated rescue units streamed out, their quantum drives allowing them to reach the stricken vessels in seconds. They attached themselves to hull breaches, stabilizing atmospheres and preventing further damage. Interesting tactics. A new voice spoke in perfect English through the bridge speakers. Elena turned to Maya, who looked equally surprised at the transmission. "This is Admiral Kextol of the Cernax High Command," the voice continued. "We were not expecting compassion. Humanity values life, Admiral Kextol," Elena responded. "Even the lives of those who've attacked us. We're capable of destroying your entire fleet, but we prefer to avoid unnecessary deaths." There was a pause, filled only by the subtle hum of the Prometheus's quantum core. "Your technology," Kextol said finally. "It surpasses anything in known space. Yet you've hidden it. Why?" "Because we've studied history, Admiral. Both yours and others. New species that display advanced technology too quickly tend to become targets. We chose to wait, to prepare. Your attacks on our colonies forced our hand." "A wise strategy," Kextol admitted. "And now?" Elena smiled slightly. "Now we negotiate. Your fleet is partially disabled, but your crews are safe. We could continue this battle, but I suspect we both know the outcome. The Cernax Empire has a choice to make." The quantum sensors detected power fluctuations throughout the remaining enemy ships, weapons powering down, shields shifting to minimal output. A gesture of trust, or at least pragmatism. "The Empire does not surrender," Kextol stated firmly. "But perhaps we can discuss terms for a strategic withdrawal." "A reasonable start," Elena agreed. "But understand this, humanity is emerging from the shadows. We've hidden our capabilities for centuries, advancing our technology, while the galaxy ignored us. Those days are over. The next time the Cernax Empire threatens a human world, we won't be so gentle." The bridge crew remained silent as they waited for Kextol's response. The fate of future human-Cernax relations hung in the balance. Finally, the alien admiral spoke again. "Your message is received, Admiral Santos. The Empire will reassess its expansion policies regarding human space. But know this, others will come. Your display of power and mercy will not go unnoticed." "We're counting on it," Elena replied. "Humanity is ready to take its place among the stars. Not as conquerors, not as victims, but as equals. Anyone who thinks otherwise will find themselves facing more ships like the Prometheus." As the diplomatic channels opened and the complex work of establishing a new relationship between species began, Elena looked out at the stars beyond the quantum-filtered viewport. Humanity had revealed itself at last, demonstrating both their technological supremacy and their capacity for mercy. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what they had planned for all along. News of the Prometheus's victory spread through the galaxy like a shockwave. Within days, the quantum communications network aboard the ship was overwhelmed with transmissions from dozens of species, some offering alliances, others demanding explanations, and a few making thinly veiled threats. But it was the message from the Cernax Empire's capital that demanded immediate attention. Admiral Santos stood in the Prometheus's quantum-secured conference room, studying the holographic representation of the Cernax High Council. 7 of the Empire's most powerful leaders glared back at her, their compound eyes reflecting barely contained fury. The local commander exceeded his authority. First Speaker Vexnal declared, mandibles clicking rapidly. "The Empire does not recognize any agreements made under duress." Elena kept her expression neutral. "The gun camera footage from our encounter has already been distributed to every major power in the sector. The galaxy has seen both our capabilities and our restraint. Are you sure you want to continue this conversation? You think one ship makes you a power? Another council member hissed. The Empire has 10,000 vessels. We will. Counselor, Elena interrupted calmly. While we've been talking, 3 more Prometheus-class vessels have come online. Would you like to know their current positions relative to your core worlds? The silence that followed was deafening. Elena let it stretch for a moment before continuing. Humanity doesn't want war. We never did, but we've spent centuries preparing for it, just in case. Your empire forced our hand. Now we're offering you a chance to be on the right side of history. Before any of the counselors could respond, Lieutenant Commander Chen's voice came through the ship's internal communications. Admiral, priority alert. Multiple quantum signature distortions detected. Large fleet movements across 3 sectors. Elena kept her eyes on the Cernax leaders. It seems some of you have already made your choice. End transmission. The holograms vanished, and Elena strode onto the bridge. The tactical display showed dozens of Cernax battle groups converging on human-controlled space. This wasn't a probing attack or a show of force. This was the Empire committing to full-scale war. Status of the other Prometheus vessels, she demanded. Ahest, Hyperion, and Helios are in position to protect our core colonies, Chen reported. SS Atlas is maintaining station near Earth. But Admiral, the Cernax aren't just deploying conventional forces. We're detecting something new. Dr. Wang's hands flew across her console. Quantum analysis confirms it. They've attempted to replicate some of our technology. It's crude, but they've managed to create localized gravity distortion fields. They're learning. Elena nodded grimly. She had expected this. Any sufficiently advanced civilization would be able to grasp the basic principles of their technology, given enough motivation. But understanding the principles and matching humanity's centuries of refinement were very different things. Signal the fleet, she ordered. Initiate Protocol Omega. It's time to show them why we waited so long to reveal ourselves. Throughout human space, hidden installations began to power up. Quantum beacons activated, creating a network of entangled particles that could coordinate military operations across light years instantly. Automated defense platforms emerged from dimensional pockets where they had waited for centuries. And in secret shipyards throughout Earth's sphere of influence, more ships began to wake. Multiple Cernax fleets entering weapons range of our outer colonies, Chen reported. They're deploying their new gravity weapons. Show me, Elena commanded. The main view screen shifted, showing Cernax warships firing distortion beams that bent space around their targets. It was impressive technology, for someone who had reverse engineered it in a matter of days. But it was also predictable. Deploy the countermeasures, she ordered. Across the battlefield, quantum field generators activated, creating zones where the enemy's gravity weapons couldn't function. The Cernax ships found their new advantages neutralized before they could even be properly tested. Admiral, Maya called out, we're receiving transmissions from multiple non-aligned worlds. They're offering support. Elena allowed herself a small smile. This was another part of the plan. Letting other species see that the Cernax Empire could be challenged. Centuries of brutal expansion had earned the Empire many enemies who had been too afraid to act alone. Quantum core at full power, Dr. Wang reported. Ready to execute Protocol Omega on your command. Elena took a deep breath. What they were about to do would change the face of warfare forever. The Prometheus's quantum core began to pulse with energy as it prepared to demonstrate humanity's true mastery over space and time. All ships, synchronize quantum fields, she commanded. Prepare for dimensional shift. Let's show them what humanity has been working on for the past 300 years. The stars themselves seemed to flicker as the human fleet prepared to unveil technology that would make their previous displays look primitive by comparison. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity hadn't just been hiding their current capabilities, they had been hiding their true potential. The fabric of space-time rippled as 4 human warships executed their dimensional shift simultaneously. The Prometheus, Hyperion, Helios, and Atlas emerged in perfect formation, their quantum cores pulsing in sync. Through the quantum-filtered viewport, Alina watched as reality itself seemed to bend around their ships. "Protocol Omega active," Dr. Wong announced, her voice tight with concentration. "Quantum field synchronization at 100%. The dimensional pocket is stable." The Cernax fleet faltered as their sensors registered what was happening. Their ship's crude gravity weapons suddenly seemed primitive compared to what humanity had unleashed. The human vessels weren't just manipulating space, they were creating their own pocket of altered reality. "Multiple enemy ships attempting emergency jumps," Chen reported. "Their drive signatures are destabilizing. They can't navigate through our quantum field." Elena nodded. This was why humanity had waited so long to reveal themselves, not just to perfect their technology, but to create defenses against any possible countermeasure. The dimensional pocket they had created wasn't just a weapon. It was a fundamental reimagining of how space warfare worked. "Signal the defense platforms," she ordered. "Begin the containment procedure." Across the battlefield, humanity's hidden defense installations activated. Quantum beacons pulsed in sequence, creating a web of interconnected fields that trapped the Cernax fleet in normal space. Their ships, despite their impressive size and firepower, were now effectively fighting in quicksand. "Admiral," Maya called out, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth Command. The dimensional sensors have detected something unexpected." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. In 3 centuries of preparation, humanity had mapped every possible response to their technology. An unexpected development could change everything. "Put it through to my private channel." The message was brief but shocking. The quantum disturbances created by Protocol Omega had attracted attention, not just from the galaxy's current powers, but from something else. Something that had been watching and waiting, just as humanity had. "New contact." Chen's voice cut through her thoughts. "Massive quantum signature detecting at the edge of the battle space. It's not Cernax." The main view screen shifted to show a tear in space itself, far larger than anything their ships could create. Through it emerged a vessel of impossible proportions, its surface shifting and flowing like liquid metal. It radiated power on a scale that made even the Prometheus's readings seem insignificant. "Incoming transmission," Maya announced. "It's broadcasting on all frequencies, using quantum encryption we've never seen before." Elena straightened her uniform. "Put it through." The voice that filled the bridge seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, speaking in perfect harmonics that translated themselves. "We have watched. We have waited. Humanity has proven itself worthy of the gift." "This is Admiral Elena Santos of the Human Space Service," she responded, keeping her voice steady. "Identify yourself." "We are the precursors," the voice replied. "We seeded this galaxy with the foundations of quantum technology, waiting for a species that would develop it not for conquest, but for defense. A species that would show restraint even in victory." The bridge crew exchanged glances. The precursors were considered a myth. An ancient race that had supposedly achieved technological perfection before vanishing from the galaxy. Their artifacts were sought after by every spacefaring civilization, but none had ever been definitively found. "Your test of the Cernax was elegant," the voice continued. "You had the power to destroy them, yet you chose to protect and teach. This is why we left our legacy. This is why we waited." Elena's mind raced with the implications. The quantum technology we developed was built on foundations we left for you to find. But how you developed it, how you chose to use it, that was uniquely human. You have proven yourselves worthy guardians. The massive precursor vessel moved through space with impossible grace, its quantum field interacting harmoniously with Protocol Omega. The galaxy stands at a crossroads. The knowledge we offer could lead to transcendence or destruction. Humanity has demonstrated the wisdom to choose the former. Before Elena could respond, the quantum sensors detected massive energy spikes throughout the battlefield. The precursor ship was doing something to the fabric of space itself, far beyond even humanity's capabilities. Quantum archive transfer commencing, Dr. Wong reported in awe. They're giving us everything. Their entire technological database. Elena watched as the Cernax fleet hung motionless in space, their weapons powered down, witnessing the moment when humanity's patience and preparation changed the course of galactic history forever. The real test wasn't their ability to fight. It was their choice of when not to. 3 days after the precursor's revelation, the Prometheus's conference room hosted an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from 20 major galactic powers, including the Cernax High Council, sat around a quantum-stabilized table. At its head, Admiral Elena Santos stood beside a holographic projection of the precursor vessel, which remained in orbit around Earth. The archives they provided contained technological insights beyond our current understanding, she explained, gesturing to the shifting display of quantum equations floating above the table. But more importantly, they contain a warning. The assembled delegates leaned forward, their various biological and mechanical sensory organs focused intently on her words. Even the Cernax counselors, their previous aggression replaced by cautious respect, waited silently. The precursors didn't vanish, Elena continued. They transcended. But in doing so, they detected something coming. Something that threatens not just our galaxy, but all galaxies. They'd been preparing for it ever since, seeding various worlds with the foundations of quantum technology, waiting for a species that could unite others against this threat. And they chose humans. First speaker Vexnol's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. A species that hid their capabilities for centuries. They chose us precisely because we hid, Elena corrected. Because we developed our technology not for conquest or pride, but for protection. Because when we had the power to destroy, we chose to preserve. Dr. Wong stepped forward, activating another holographic display. The precursor archives show that in approximately 10,000 years, our galaxy will encounter a wave of, let's call it anti-reality, a phenomenon that breaks down the fundamental forces holding space-time together. The conference room erupted in overlapping voices and translated exclamations. Elena let the chaos continue for a moment before raising her hand for silence. We have time, she assured them. Time to prepare, time to advance our technology, time to unite. The precursors left us their knowledge because they saw in humanity the potential to lead this preparation, not through force, but through cooperation. And if we refuse this cooperation, a crystalline being from the Arcturus collective chimed, its resonance frequencies expressing skepticism. Elena smiled. That's exactly the kind of question they were hoping for. This isn't about forcing anyone to follow humanity's lead. It's about offering our knowledge and resources to create something greater than any one species could achieve alone. The quantum core of the Prometheus hummed softly as Elena activated the final hologram, a massive construction project already underway in Earth's orbit. This is the first unified research institute, a place where scientists from all species can work together, sharing knowledge and developing the technologies we'll need to face what's coming. The Cernax Empire, Vexnol began, then corrected himself. The Cernax people would be interested in participating in this venture. One by one, the other representatives made similar declarations. Even those species that had been historical enemies found themselves drawn to this new purpose, this shared destiny that transcended their ancient conflicts. There's something else you should know, Elena added as the agreements were being formalized. The precursors didn't just leave us technology. They left us a choice. Their vessel contains the means for any sufficiently advanced species to follow their path of transcendence. We could take that path now, leave these problems to others. She paused, looking each delegate in the eye, or whatever passed for eyes in their species. But humanity has chosen to stay, to face what's coming alongside all of you, because that's who we are. Not conquerors, not saviors, but partners in what might be the greatest challenge our galaxy has ever faced. The Prometheus's quantum sensors detected energy signatures as ships from all the represented species began arriving in the Sol system, responding to their leader's orders to begin this new cooperation. Among them were Cernax vessels, their weapons powered down, coming not as conquerors but as allies. The precursors chose well, the crystalline being chimed. You hide your power until needed, yet share it freely once revealed. You fight with precision when forced, yet offer mercy before victory is complete. Perhaps humanity's greatest technology is not in your quantum drives or gravity weapons, but in your capacity to unite former enemies under a common cause. Elena looked out at the assembled delegates, seeing in their varied faces and forms the future the precursors had envisioned. A galaxy united not by force or fear, but by the shared challenge of survival and the promise of transcendence earned through cooperation rather than conquest. "We have 10,000 years to prepare," she said finally. 10,000 years to turn a galaxy of rivals into a civilization capable of facing the impossible. Humanity didn't hide our technology because we were afraid. We hid it because we were waiting for the right moment to share it. That moment has arrived. As the delegates began discussing the practical matters of this new alliance, Elena received a quantum transmission from the precursor vessel. Its message was brief but clear. "The test continues. Guide them well." She smiled, understanding at last that humanity's real advancement hadn't been in technology at all. It had been in learning when to use it, when to hide it, and when to share it. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what the precursors had been waiting for all along.